It's everyone. Okay, so let's start with a review. That way, if anyone else is coming, they won't miss out. Okay, so as mentioned last time, the importance of reviewing what we learned. It's called Chazara. So I'll ask a few questions from the Tilas Yadayim to see how well we remember. What happens if somebody washed their hand, just one hand, and before washing the other hand, they touched the hand that was not yet washed, or their friend came who did not wash their hands and touched the hand while it's still wet? What's the halacha? Very good, yeah. You have to dry your hand and wash it again. Very good. And one more question from the Tilas Yadayim. What happens if somebody forgot their ring while they were washing?
It depends how movable the ring is.
Exactly. If it's very easily movable, that means the water can get in, and that'll be okay. Okay, so last week we started learning the halachas of making a bracha before we eat. So this is a very, very, very practical chapter in halacha. We're holding chapter 50, Perek Nun. I don't know the page number on this print, but it shouldn't be too hard to find, hopefully. So just a quick review of what we learned last week. Yeah, the pasuk says, La Hashem ha'aretz u'malaya, to Hashem, the world and everything in it, it belongs to Hashem pretty much, right? La Hashem, to Hashem, this all belongs. But everything is sanctified for Hashem. And in order for us to be able to derive benefit from Hashem's world, the first thing we have to do is to make a bracha beforehand. This is not limited to when we eat, but also before, like we see by Havdalah. Before we smell the besamim, we make a bracha. So anything that a person derives actual physical benefit from good taste, good smell, the halacha is one must make a bracha beforehand, thanking Hashem for this benefit that one is going to derive. As we mentioned before, there's different brachas and different types of food. Things that grow directly from the ground. We're going to actually cover it today, Mitzvah Hashem. Directly from the ground, not from a tree. You make what bracha do you make? From the ground. Yeah. Adama, very good, yeah. And from a tree is ha'etz, meat. Same thing with chicken, cheese, not together, of course, water, juice. All these things you make a shahakol. On wine, you make hagafen. Bread, you make hamaitzi. Cookies, you make mezainas, right? If somebody by accident, they picked up a cookie and they're about to make mezainas, they spaced out and they made shahakol. What's the halacha? Do they have to make a new bracha or no? Or
Yes.
Oh, if they put it in the mouth yet, you don't make a new bracha. If you cut yourself very quickly, then you can change it. But as soon as you took a bite, you're yaitz you fulfilled your obligation. Now, let's say you know that your friend is going to bring you some soda in 2 minutes. Can you make a bracha and then your friend is going to bring it to you, or you have to hold it in your hand, or it has to be on the table? What's the best way to go about this?
It has to be on the table.
At least, very good. And what's it? Best to hold. Yes, very good. So if it's not in front of you, one may not make a bracha, and if they did, they have to make another bracha when it's either in front of them. But even so, the best proper way to do it is to hold it in the right hand and then make a bracha. Very good. Let's say you're eating grapes, or really anything, potato chips, whatever it is. You picked it up, you made a bracha. There was a very strong wind, and the piece that you had in your hand flew away, and there's absolutely no way you can get it back. What's the halacha? If you don't have, very good, if you don't have in front of you any more of those chips and the grapes, you have to make a new bracha when you get more. But if you had in front of you the bowl that had the other chips or the other grapes, then being that it was in front of you at the time, your bracha included those things on the table, and you do not make a new bracha. Very, very good. You made a bracha shahakol, then you got a phone call that was so important. and before you got a chance to take a bite and to swallow, you picked up the phone by accident. You didn't realize, and you spoke. What's the halacha? Do you have to make a new bracha, or your bracha counts? Yes, it's considered an interruption. Very good. That's correct.
Yes, to make one.
Yes, to make a bracha. Yes, exactly. But what happens if, let's say, you made hamaitzi and you really wanted the salt or the dip, and you said, pass the salt, or salt, whatever it is. Is that okay, or do you have to make a new bracha? It's okay because it's not considered a full, complete interruption because it's still within the same realm of your bracha. You didn't speak about something else. You spoke about something which is called l'tzerech ha'seuda, for the need of your meal. So, l'chatchil, of course, it shouldn't be done, but after the fact, this does not require one to make a new bracha. Now, as mentioned before, many people are makpid, they're careful to pour out a little bit of water before drinking. Let's say you made a bracha, and then you realize, oh, I didn't pour out some water. Are you allowed to pour out the water, or should you drink first and then pour out the water? You should drink first, yeah. And the reason that's brought is because it's disrespectful to the bracha. You made a bracha on this, and by spilling out, it doesn't look so nice for the bracha first. So first you drink, and then you continue, you pour out, and you can continue drinking. Oh, this is very, very practical. Somebody's making soup out of Shabbos, and they want to know if there's enough salt or enough spices, whatever it is. What's the halacha? In what case will be the halacha? If you're just tasting, if you're swallowing, what's the halacha over here?
If you just want to taste it and then you plan to spit it out, then you don't need bracha, but if you're just swallowing it, you should.
Oh, if you swallow it, if you should.
You do.
Yes, you
Yes,
do. But you should also have in mind that you're not just doing it for the sake of tasting, but this is you're actually eating the soup. You're having in mind that it's not just for the sake of tasting, but for eating, then you do make a bracha, correct. Oh, this is also a very practical thing. Somebody is having bubblegum flavored Tylenol, whatever, or any other medication. It tastes good. Is it because, do we say because it's medication, you don't make a bracha, or because it tastes good, you do make a bracha? What's Allah? You do make a bracha, yes. If it tastes good, so even though you're only doing it for refuah, for healing, or for getting rid of pain, but since when you're eating it, a person is deriving benefit, it tastes good, then they do absolutely make a bracha. Okay. The next two halachas, okay, we'll review them later. Let's continue. We're holding by the 10th halacha, halacha yud. Okay, now what happens if one put the food in the mouth and they realized, oy vey, I did not make a bracha? What do you do? So let's see inside. Yud. Shachach v'hichnes eichlan l'teich piv b'lei bracha. You forgot, and you put into your mouth. You put the food into your mouth without a bracha. What do you do? So if we're dealing with something that's not really gross, if you spit it out, then the proper thing is to remove the food from the mouth, make a bracha, and then put it back in. That's if it's not going to be, the food is not going to be gross anymore. If the food, when you take it out of your mouth, it's not going to be gross, it's still going to be, let's say you put in a hard candy. It's not really going to be, it's not going to go bad. So the proper thing is not to have it in your mouth. You should take it out, make the bracha, put it back in. Now, why is the reason for that? Why can't you just make a bracha before you swallow? What's the big deal? Halacha says, "V'lo yivarich hala ba'edei b'fiv, m'shem dechsiv yimalei fi tilasecha." One may not just leave it in their mouth, l'chatchila, and make the bracha, because the pasuk teaches us, yimalei fi tilasecha, that my mouth should be filled with Hashem's praise. So it should be filled with Hashem's praise and not with something else. So that's why when you make a bracha, you should not have anything in your mouth, l'chatchila. Now, this is all if what we're eating is not going to become mimas. It's not going to become either gross, or it's not going to melt, whatever it is. However, the imudava she'imi aflita yehenimas, kiva the also lahabed eichlin misakle befiv letzad acher umavarich alav. However, if it's something that if you're going to take it out of your mouth, you're absolutely not going to eat it, and it's going to go straight to the garbage, then the halacha is you do not spit it out because there's a prohibition from destroying food, right? Maltashkas, one is not allowed to just throw away food for no reason. Then in such a case, you would put it to the side of your mouth, recite a bracha, and then swallow. Yes.
And if I eat cereal with milk in the morning, and
Yeah.
then I forgot to say the bracha, what I can do?
Oh.
Can I finish the day
Oh.
and say the bracha?
So okay, that's a very good question. That's the next part of the stage. Very good.
Sorry, thank you.
No, it's okay. That's a very good question. So now, what happens if you have something liquidy, this is a very good example, cereal and milk, there's no choice. You can't spit it out and you can't really move it to the side of your mouth. The same thing is if you have water, juice, anything else, there's absolutely nothing you can do. You don't have the first option of spitting it out. You don't have the second option of moving it to the side of your mouth because not always do you have space. Azai im yesh eid mashkin yiflet elu leibud. Ve'im ein leyeser v'hudafa kal zeh ha'ma'at sheb'teich piv beilon v'yivarech achakach bracha rishayna. Ava bracha achrayna lo yivarech. Ach im u'yayin b'shas revi'is yivarech gam bracha achrayna. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
Yeah. So you have a cup. The first case is where you took a sip, and if you have more of what's in the cup, so then the proper thing to do is actually to spit it out and not to eat without a bracha. However, if you have no more, that's all you have, and you really need it, then the halacha is you swallow what you have and then you make the bracha rishena afterwards. However, bracha achrayna you don't make because if that's all you had, then you didn't have enough to have a revius to make a bracha achrayna. And if it's wine and you did drink a revius, then you do make a bracha achrayna. So again, if you have more, you have a cup of water, you have a whole bowl of cereal, there's more on your plate, there's more in your cup, nothing's going to happen if you spit it out. You will have food, you will have drinks. The proper thing is not to eat without a bracha, so you spit it out, and then you make a bracha and you drink again. If this is all you have and you really need it, then the halacha is you swallow and then you make a bracha afterwards. Okay, so let's review this halacha. This is very important because it can happen to anyone. So there's three categories over here. The first category is food that once it's in your mouth, it does not become gross. Let's say hard candy, something it's not going to melt, it's not going to disintegrate. It's still whole. So the proper thing is if you put it in your mouth without making a bracha, you should take it out of your mouth, make a bracha, and return it into your mouth. That's the first thing. Second stage is if you take it out of your mouth, it's going to be gross. You're just going to put it in the garbage. It's not something you want to eat. Then what you do, you put it to the side of the mouth, you make a bracha, and then you swallow. Now, the third case is if you simply cannot put it to the side of your mouth, you cannot take it out, you have absolutely no option. This is, the example given is by drinks. The same thing is true by cereal, with milk, that if you can't move it to the side of your mouth, it's a liquid. You're not going to be able to make a bracha, it's going to come out. You cannot take it out of your mouth. So then the halacha is if you have more, you should not swallow, you should spit it out, make a bracha, and eat properly. If you don't have more and you really need this, it's not just, it's the person's very hungry, whatever it is, you swallow and then you make a bracha d'sheina, but you do not recite a bracha achrayna because if this is all you have, then you didn't have the minimum amount to make a bracha achrayna. Okay. Sure, yeah.
What is the asur lavet achalim?
There's a halacha that you're not allowed to Just
Throw food?
throw food away.
Really?
Yeah.
Any food?
Any food, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Thank you so much. Can you repeat why we didn't say the
Yes, because the second case that we mentioned, the only time you're allowed to swallow and then make the Baracha Rishayna is if that's all you have and you really need it. So if that's all you have, then automatically you didn't have enough to make a Baracha Achrayna. Because in order to make a Baracha Achrayna, you have to have a Revius, let's say this much of a cup, but somebody that just had a little bit, and if they spit it out, they might not have anything else, so they swallow, it's not enough to make a Baracha Achrayna. The next halach is also very, very practical. Somebody has an apple and a pear, or they have nuts and an apple, things that it's the same bracha. In the case it's going to be brought, it's going to be something which is ha'etz. Do you make two brachas, or are you supposed to make one bracha and have the other one in mind? That's the question we're going to be dealing with now. Yud Aleph, Hayu Lefanav, Shnei Minim, Shebecheseim, Shaves, Gen Agais, V'Tapuach, Shiach Levarech Al Echad, Ulifter Gam Hasheni. The halacha is Chayav Lases Kain. V'Asur Levarech Al Echad, B'Kavanish Leilifter Es Hasheni, K'dei Levarech Gam Allah B'Fnei Atzmei, Mishum De'Asur Ligrim Bracha She'en Etzricha. Okay, we'll finish the sentence in a second. Let's just translate and explain what we said now. I have two foods in front of me that have the same bracha. So the example over here given is two things that they're both ha'etz, but it's not just limited to that. Let's say I have a piece of meat and I have a drink that comes along with it, which both of them have the same bracha rishena of shahakol. Right? So what do? Do I make a shahakol and another shahakol? You just one? Correct. Exactly. You make a bracha shahakol on one of them, and you have in mind that it should also include the second one. Now, yeah.
I have a question, sorry.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
But sometimes I eat something and after I want to eat another the food, but I didn't have in mind that I want to eat the other food. So what I can do?
Oh, was it in front of you?
Not necessarily.
No, they're making a bracha.
I'm in the kitchen but the food is not exactly on my front, so
It's in a cabinet or something.
yes, it's closer to me, but it's not exactly in my front.
Yeah, she's making a bracha, yeah.
Again?
Yeah, not again, it's a new one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, it's the same food or something different?
No, different food.
Different,
but
yeah,
it's
different
the same
food.
wrapper.
Yeah, no, so you make a new one. Yeah, we'll see in a second.
Okay.
Very, very good. Okay, the Yivarech al Yeser Chashav, you should make the bracha on the one which has more of a cheshivas. It's more superior, so to speak. The niftar sheni afablish lehaisa kavnasu lefatre. Aval im beirach al zeh she'enei chashav, enei niftar chashav elim kein hayudaite patre. Aval im beirach vastam sarach lachs levarech al chashav the enei bedin sheyiftar. Okay. So we have two things in front of you. There's one food that's more superior, so to speak. It has more of a cheshivas, it has more of a significance. Let's bring the example that we said earlier, a piece of meat and some water. Now, the proper thing to do is to make a bracha on the meat, because meat has more of a cheshivas, it has more of an importance than the water. Water is much more plain than meat, right? So when you have a bracha on the meat, it automatically, you don't even have to have in mind, as long as it's in front of you, of course, you don't even have to have in mind the water, because something which is more superior is going to include the less superior. However, what happens if somebody made a shahakal on the water instead of the meat? Then you actually have to have in mind this is not just going on the water, but it's including the meat also. Because something which is less superior does not automatically include something which is more superior. If you didn't have in mind the more superior food, then you actually do have to make a bracha on the more superior food. So let's just recap that because there's a few details over here. So again, there's a halacha that one has to make, if they're able to make less brachas by including one with the other, the halacha is one must do so. They should not just make brachas for no reason. A practical example is if somebody has two foods which are the same bracha. The example we just gave is meat and your drink. So the halacha is you make a bracha on one of them and have in mind the other one. Now, which bracha, on which food should you make the bracha on? So that the halacha is you should make the bracha on the food which is more superior. So in our example of the meat and the drink, you make a bracha on the meat because meat is more superior than a drink. Now, a very interesting thing is that when you make a bracha on the meat, being that it's superior, it automatically includes the food which is less superior. And that means you actually do not have to have it specifically in mind. However, if you made the bracha on the less superior food, you actually have to have the more superior food in mind because it does not automatically include it. With that being said, if one made a bracha on the less superior food and they did not have in mind the more superior food, then they actually do have to make a second bracha on the more superior food. Now, let's change the scenario a little bit. You have something which is ha'etz, or you have something which is hadama, or something which is shahakal, which hadama, if you made it on something which is supposed to be ha'etz, after the fact, you do not make a new bracha, it counts. And the same halacha goes for something which is shahakal. What happens if, are you allowed to just make a shahakal and have both of them in mind? Or do you have to recite the proper bracha for each one of them separately? So let's see that inside. Yud Beis, the 12th halacha. Aloim heim shnei minim k'gem pri ha'etz u'pri ha'adama le'davar sheberachos shahakal af agav deb'diyavdim berachal kulam shahakal eishe berachal pri ha'etz beri pri ha'adama yatsa mikol makeh machatchila asr lases kain Ella Yevarich Hakol Echad ve'Echad Bracha HaMiyuchedes Lo. So earlier we were talking about if you have two foods which is the same bracha, ha'etz and ha'etz, or shahakal and shahakal, hadam and hadama. Over there, one should make one bracha to include both. The next halacha is what happens if the factors change, the variance changed. One food is ha'etz, one food is hadama, or one food is ha'etz and one food is shahakal, which in theory, if I make a shahakal on something which is ha'etz, that counts. Nevertheless, even though it counts, one should not do so. Rather, what should they do? They should first make a bracha ha'etz, and then make a bracha shahakal. Why? Seemingly I can make a shahakal and cover both. Because the halacha is you have to make the proper bracha l'chatchila on every food separately, right? Because if this is ha'etz, it deserves a bracha ha'etz on its own right. This is shahakal, so you first have to make a shahakal and then, but not to mix them. Now, as mentioned, you make a bracha each one separately for the proper bracha. You don't make the shahakal first or the hadama first, rather you make the berei pri ha'etz first.
First is ha'etz.
First is ha'etz, and then you make, and then hadama, and then shahakal. Exactly, yes. Afil yesh lefan of yain v'anavim v'reitz lishtes yain kedem v'varech berei pri ha'dafen afal pishim l'skav v'litzeh be'brachas u'gam ha'anavim yachal lefan. Tzrim k'malkim v'chadchila l'yasakein Allah Yechavin Shaloi Lifters Vanavim Kadei Levara Gam Aleim Bracha Hamisukanis Shahid Berei Pri Ha'etz. 1 second, Now, you have wine and you have grapes, which if you have in mind, when you make Berei Pri Ha'gafen, you have in mind on the wine, and you had in mind to include the grapes, it counts. It does include it. However, it's the same principle. One should not do so. Rather, they should have the wine, make a berei pri hagafen, and not have in mind the grapes. Then, sure. If you have wine and grapes, yeah? So in theory, if one makes a bracha berei pri hagafen, and they have in mind the grapes, it counts. You can have the wine and the grapes of one bracha, in theory. However, one should not do so, because the proper bracha for grapes is actually not hagafen, it's berei pri ha'etz. So you should not have in mind, when you make the bracha on the wine, to include the grapes. You should have in mind just for the wine, you make a berei pri hagafen, and then make a separate bracha on the grapes. Now we're getting to even more practical halachas, and you see this is a very, very good chapter. It's really, what happened? Are you allowed to change your place? You started eating in this room. Can you go downstairs and continue eating in that room with the same bracha?
You would have to have it in mind before you
Oh,
say the bracha.
very good.
You need to come in.
Yes. Oh, everyone knows halachas. Baruch Hashem, very good. Very, very good. Yep, that's the halacha you have to have in mind. So let's see inside. Chol hadvarim chutz min hapas im shina mekeme af al pi shelo hisiach daite nechshav k'mei hesach hadas. Hameitzi has a different halacha. Let's deal with now shahakol, adama, ha'etz. If you had a coffee over here and you wanted to continue drinking your coffee downstairs or in the room across, even if you didn't think about anything else, you still have the coffee in your hand, you have to make a new bracha.
Why? No, wait.
Oh.
Sorry.
If you made a shahakal over here, you moved to the room across, even if you had it in your hand, you didn't change, you didn't think about something else, even if you mamish were thinking, I'm drinking this all the way until you got into the next room, you have to make a new bracha. It's called shinoi makom. If you change your place, that requires one to make a new bracha.
But your place is not it's outside our room or outside
In-
the
oh.
building?
Oh, no, even in the same building from room to room. So what do you do to avoid making a new bracha? Very simple. So, ולכן מי שאיכל ישב בחדר אחד ואחר כך הלך לחדר אחר, לגמר שם אכילתו ושתייתו, אפילו ממין הראשון, אפילו איכס ביד יעשה מייכל המשקה ונעשה חדר האחר, מכל מקום צריך לברך עליו שם מחדש ברכה ראשונה. אבל ברכה אחרונה, על מה שאוכל תחילה אין צריך, כי ברכה שיברך לסייף תעלה לשתיהם. So we said it really outside, I just wanted to read it inside. So the truth is, even if you go, one second. Yeah, okay. So it doesn't say inside. I'm going to fill in the blank. It doesn't say it in this print. So even if you, as mentioned outside, we're just read it inside. If you mamish had it in your hand, you didn't think about anything else. You're just thinking, I am drinking coffee. There's no real hefsek. Nevertheless, if there's shinoi makom, if one changed their place from one room to the next room, then they are required to make a new bracha. So how do you avoid that? You don't want to make a new bracha. How do you avoid doing so? So it does not say in the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, but over here in the commentaries, it says, as mentioned before, you have to have in mind, you have to have kavana, that I'm actually going to be going to the next room also. So before you make the bracha, you have in mind both rooms, or you're going to be eating in both rooms, and that counts. They shouldn't make a bracha. Now, this is true that some places can write, some halachic authorities write that today's day and age, people walk around where they eat to different places, and you do not have to make a new bracha, when you go into the next room, because it's as if you automatically had in mind, because that's the norm on people today. However, the proper thing is just have in mind before you eat, I am going to be going to the next room with this food, and that's it. According to all opinions, you're good, so to speak.
What do you do if you take a coffee, like you get a coffee and you take it yourself?
In the same room?
Yes. No, like if you went to the coffee shop and get coffee,
Okay.
you do that.
And where are you going to be drinking?
Well, you might be drinking it on the way to wherever you're going.
Very good. That's the next halacha. Very, very good. Okay. This is a good, very good shaila. It's actually not so simple.
Simple?
Not so simple. Nothing simple.
Nothing zero.
But together with that, if nothing is simple, it's not just a burden. You have to learn so much, you have to know so much. On the contrary, when there's so many details, it shows you how special it is to be a Jew. Because Hashem is so, he cares about every single detail in one's life, that it should be done correctly, and every small little thing you have an opportunity to connect with Hashem. So it's actually a very special thing. All these details are not just there to make life complicated, but through each detail that we follow, that we keep, it's actually creating our connection to Hashem. So this is something which is very, very special. It's like the famous example that's brought. Somebody once asked, does Hashem really care about the details? I have in mind, I don't have in mind, like, leave me alone already. So somebody answered him, you want to send an email, a very important email, and you forgot one digit, the dot, before .com, you forgot the dot. One little detail. Who cares, right? It's just a dot. Your email's not going to go, right? It's not going to send. It's going to come right back to you. It's the same thing when it comes to Torah mitzvahs. It's not just a dot. It's every single thing that we do is such an important detail in our Avodas Hashem, and it matters to Hashem that the mitzvah should be done properly. Okay, so you know what? Let's just review quickly, and if we have some time, then we'll move on to the next halachas because there's only 10 minutes left. Okay. Somebody put something in their mouth, food obviously, and they didn't make a bracha. What do you do?
Take it out
If you can. Very good. And you make a bracha and you put it back. What happens if you can't? The food is going to be gross. You're not going to want to do that. Oh, you put it to the side. Very good. You make a bracha and then you swallow. What happens if it's a liquid, a drink, cereal with milk, where it's impossible to do that? What do you do? Oh, if you have more, you should spit it out, make a bracha, and then eat. If you don't have any more, and this is all you have, so you swallow and then you make a bracha to Shena.
Without bracha.
Correct, because if there's not enough, it's just very little, so you don't make a bracha. Exactly.
If you take up a little, or
Little, yeah.
What is left is
Oh, very good. If you only took little, but if you had a lot and only at the last bite, the last sip, you realized, then you do make a bracha. Because if you had a lot in total, then you do. I have a piece of meat and I have soda in front of me, and I want to eat both of them. What should I do? And it covers both, correct. What happens if I made the bracha on the drink? You have to have the meat in mind, exactly. What happens if What happens if I didn't have the meat in mind? You say no. Yeah, you have to make it a bracha. Very good. What happens if I have something which is ha'etz and shahakol? Am I allowed to make a shahakol and cover everything? No. Oh, so what do? You make ha'etz first and then shahakol. Same halacha. What happens if I have a glass of wine and grapes? What should I do? And you don't have in mind the grapes, and you make ha'etz. Very good. Excellent. Okay, what happens if I have a coffee over here and I move to the other room? Do I have to make a new bracha or not?
if you didn't keep it in mind.
If you didn't have in mind in the beginning when you made the bracha, then one does have to make a new bracha. There are halachic authorities that hold today that since it's not, I guess, the way it used to be back then, you would sit down, you would drink, and then you would go on with your way. Today, people drink, walk, it's the norm to just go around. So there are halachic authorities that hold that you do not have to make a new bracha because it's as if you had in mind, because this is the norm. However, the proper thing is to have in mind before you make a bracha that you're going to be walking to the other room, the next room, downstairs, upstairs, as long as it's in the same house, that's okay.
So like here, can I say one time of shakol, that's it?
And have in mind that
That all day I will be here and drink water.
you should make a bracha achrona, meaning the bracha l'sheina does expire at a certain, we'll get there, it does expire, but let's say you're drinking one coffee and you want to go downstairs, so you should have in mind that you're going downstairs soon. Yud Dalet, the 14th halacha. Chein im halach lachutz, v'achar kach chezer l'mekayme, ligmar achilasei. Somebody went outside. They started eating inside, and the delivery came. They went outside to get it, or somebody came to the door, and they went outside. Then they come back to finish their meal, to finish what they eat, the food. One is required to make a new bracha. When do we say you have to make a new bracha? When you're eating by yourself. Somebody sat down by themselves for a snack. Or you're eating with others. Or even if you're eating with others and everyone went outside. If one person stayed behind where you're eating, that person did everyone a big favor. Because now you don't have to make a new bracha when you come back. Since they had in mind to come back, they had in mind to come back to this person. They are not required to make a new bracha. Since when this person stayed here, so he actually saved the day for everyone. They were not required to make a new bracha because the kvius, when they sat down to eat, that never went away. And therefore, when they come back, they can eat freely without making a new bracha. Let's say you're in a huge room. Let's say you went to a wedding or you went to a big seminar, a big presentation, and it's a huge room, and you made shahakol in one part of the room, and in the middle of the seminar or in the middle of the wedding, you went all the way to the other side of the room, but it's one room. Do you have to make a new bracha? Or, you don't make a new bracha. So even though, in theory, going from this room to the next room, you're walking much less than if you were in this big hall, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't go by how much you walk. Rather, it goes by, is this considered one room or two rooms? If it's two rooms, as mentioned, yeah?
Okay, how would this work in open concept houses? Because in old houses, the living room and dining room would be
separate,
but
correct.
now there's not really walls in between. So would a room be where a mezuzah is? Or would it be like living room, dining room, even if there's no separation?
This is a very, very good question, because this is today becoming that's how they make houses today, a lot of them. So we'll actually see. So if there's no walls, it's just one huge room, which that's a real open concept. You'll have a whole floor. The main floor is completely open. So even though theoretically, if you look at the maps of the house, this is going to be designated as living room, dining room, kitchen, whatever it is, but being that halachically there's no separation, there's no mechitzah, there's no wall, there's nothing, it's all one big room. So halachically, it's also considered one big room. But there is an exception to the rule. We'll see in a second. Okay, so as we mentioned, yes, so this is actually a very practical halacha. If you're eating in a house, which is open concept, you started in the living room and you finished in the dining room, and there could be one completely apart from the other. However, being that practically speaking, it's an open concept, it is one room, just because I call it a different section of the house, but it's for all practical purposes, it's one room, you don't make a new bracha. Tazayin, let's just see if we can finish. In Eichel Penis Began, you go to a garden and to eat fruits. Shemukaf mechitzes Berachos Penis Ilon Echad Al Das Lachal Gam Ilonis Acherim Yachal Lachal Gam Ilonis Acherim Afapisha Eine Raya Mekemei Kol Shalei Hasiach Daitev in Sanach Levarach Shemis. You went to a garden, to pick apples, to pick strawberries, whatever it is. Now, if the garden is mukaf mechitzes, it's there you go. We'll continue this halacha because there's a few details and we want to do it properly.
Sure. I was looking about I see the real the